going on, everybody? I am in one of these Amsterdamian, Dutch, Bohemian, Berlin style Burning Man jaunts, and it's a beautiful day. It's gorgeously sunny everywhere, and yeah, it's been an interesting day. I jumped into the Amsterdam canals today, which apparently are very clean. They're not like New York's Hudson River, I promise. But the reason that I jumped in was mostly because I wanted to exercise a particular expression of my will and of my volition. I wanted to embody the idea of participating spontaneously in the moment. What I mean by that is that I didn't plan to jump into the canals of Amsterdam today. I came to a beer garden to hang out. I came out to have a beer and sit in the sun. But then I saw other people were stripping down to their boxers and jumping into the canals. And all of a sudden a choice presented itself, a fork in the road. And, you know, I took the road less traveled, and that made all the difference, as they say. Participating spontaneously in the moment, I believe, has to do with choosing to say yes to circumstances that present themselves, even if they were not preconceived of, pre-planned, and there was no expectation of them occurring. In other words, when the world serves itself up in a surprising fashion and you say yes to whatever comes. A lot of mystics, a lot of sages, a lot of wise men and wise women will often speak about saying yes to the moment. You know, it's okay to make a plan, it's okay to take a trip, it's okay to, like, you know, schedule things on the calendar, but that shouldn't act as a full-on straitjacket on your capacity to be spontaneous, on your capacity to be open in every moment. And one of the best things that happens to people when they have positive peak experiences or psychedelic experiences or some cathartic breakthrough in psychotherapy is that people report increased feelings of openness to new experience. So we're open to different cultures, we're open to different belief systems, we're open to break our patterns of behavior and our patterns of habit, and the things that normally make us feel like we're running on loop or living in a goddamn hamster wheel. And when we're open to new experiences, we can be more spontaneous, and when we're more spontaneous, we are more free. So what we're talking about really is we're talking about cultivating a capacity to exercise our freedom, to be truly free beings, like children, open to new experiences, open to become something else, to become someone else. And what we mean by that is that our prior notions of who we are shouldn't limit the idea of who we might become. I think it was Shakespeare who said, "We know what we are, we know not what we may be." And this applies, you know, to our usage of technologies of ecstasy, like psychedelics, meditation, and yoga, but also literalizing our imagination in technological scaffoldings like smartphones and AI and the Internet of Things and biotech and genetic engineering and all of these things that might also transform us or lead the path to transformation. So again, it's about being open. It's about transcending the been-theres and done-thats of the adult mind. That's what it's about, guys. It's a good day. I'm digging the music. I'm digging the reggae. It's dope. It's really dope. So, anyway. I'm on a it's funny, a lot of women that I have planned to meet up with or go on dates with lately have told me that they're going through a kind of personal crisis. You'd be shocked by the commonality of the personal crisis nowadays. It seems to be like the trend. It's a contagion of people going through personal crises. And I think that that's like the underbelly of the unparalleled amount of choice and freedom that we have today. to become who we might become. Travel is cheaper than it's ever been. Getting on a flight and traveling the world, being a digital nomad, working in the creative economy as a digital creative frees you from having to be in an office, having to be in a city, having to be in a place. All of a sudden, you can be anything you want. But if you fail, you have nobody to blame but yourself. And one of the pathologies that has emerged, one of the consequences of this much freedom is a kind of vertigo. The vertigo of freedom, the paralysis of too much possibility. Now that you can be anything, you're terrified to be anything. Having to choose means having to face the consequences of your choices. And so everybody's going through a personal crisis. And everybody is also comparing their freaking lives to everybody else's lives on platforms like Instagram, which exacerbate the anxiety of comparison, of ego. The Buddha said, do not compare yourself to others, for you will become vain and bitter. And so people are stuck, paralyzed by freedom, feeling constrained, comparing themselves to everybody else, which only adds to the misery. And then thinking that if they do make a choice, they're going to be tied to that choice, and so nobody wants to commit. Meanwhile, you add a little bit of that FOMO, the fear of missing out, and you have a recipe for a lot of existential dread, making anxiety and depression the most diagnosed illnesses in the world. 800,000 people commit suicide every year. They choose death over doing what they're most afraid of. If you have a choice of doing what you're most afraid of or choosing death, why not do the thing you're most afraid of? I mean, come on. There's a line from the movie Vanilla Sky that I love. It says, every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around. So, it's never too late. Every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around. To go from no to yes, to go from shadow to the light. Whereas once we were blind, now we can see. To awaken the mind's attention from the lethargy of custom and the film of familiarity and redirect it instead towards the wonders of existence. To see the world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wild flower. To hold infinity in the palm of your hand, to hold eternity in an hour. The search is what anyone would undertake if they were not sunk in the everydayness of their own life. To become aware of the possibility of the search is to be onto something. Not to be onto something is to be in despair. The only people for me are the mad ones. Mad to live, mad to talk, mad to be saved. Desirous of everything at the same time. Those who never yawn or say a commonplace thing, but burn, burn, burn like yellow Roman candles exploding like spiders across the sky.